Hi everyone, welcome back to our channel, or if you're new here, welcome. My name is Greta Rose and I'm the social media and community manager at Plan. So today we're going to be discussing how to tell the story of your brand online. Now, whether you're starting a new brand or taking an existing brand from a physical space to an online one, these are a few important things I believe you should keep in mind. So I think the first step to this, and it's absolutely essential, is to ask yourself the important questions. Ask yourself questions like, what is my brand about? What is my mission? Who is the audience I want to target? What are my goals? All of these questions and your answers to them is going to shape your strategy when you're bringing your brand to the online space. You have to think that these are questions your audience is going to be wanting the answers to as well. So the sooner you can get clear on your answers and really understand the ins and outs of these questions, the better off it's going to be. Now, we know coming up with these questions can be a little tricky. That's why we've included a free downloadable. It's at the link in the bio. Feel free to actually pause this video, take the time to download it so you can fill out these questions as we're going through this video. Now, you might be asking yourself, why is it important that I tell the story of my brand? And you might not really understand what I mean by storytelling. So basically, as humans, we all love the art of telling stories or hearing stories. And when we can have this idea in mind, when we're moving our brand to an online space, it's going to make it much more cohesive, and we're going to really be able to tell people what our brand is about, what's important to us, who we are behind the brand. And this is going to create that connection between you and your customers and take your brand to a whole other level, especially because this year we've seen a huge increase in authentic content and people wanting to dig deeper into a brand and really understand the brand and the people and the morals. And so looking at it through this lens of storytelling, I think, is essential. Now, hopefully through answering these questions, you've learned more about yourself and your brand and your vision for your brand. But now that we've come to know ourselves a little bit better and our brands, it's time to understand your audience. So it's actually much easier to do this than you would first expect. Now, if you already have a pre-existing brand, try and get a hold of some analytics, whether that's through your website or just being able to track who's purchasing your products. You'll be able to better understand who your clientele already is. Now, if you're starting from the very beginning and you don't yet have access to those types of insights, really sit with yourself and get an idea of who is the exact customer you envision having your product. Is it someone in their mid-20s, a young college student? Is it someone who is more middle-aged? What are the ages that you're envisioning? What type of person? What does this person do? What activities do they enjoy? Really map out your ideal customer and get an idea of who that is. And if it's multiple customers, then get clear on that too. I find though that it's better to get really, really specific, and you can even kind of design a character, put a name on your ideal customer, really, really try and hone in on that so you can get an idea of who you want to target. Now, my next tip is to get inspired. While I definitely don't promote mimicking any other brands because you want to set yourself apart, I do agree with taking a look on social media at some similar brands and get an idea of what they're doing. Really evaluate their posts. You can do what we call an audit, and instead of auditing your own account, audit other people's accounts and really look at, okay, who's their demographic? Who is engaging with these posts? What posts are they doing that are working? And what are posts that they're implementing that aren't working? You can learn so much by just auditing other people's accounts and really getting an idea of what they're doing right and what they're doing wrong, and then decide what you want to bring into your strategy and what you want to leave. My fourth tip is to get authentic. Now, this is a huge trend we're seeing in 2021 content. People want less produced content. They want to see more authenticity. They want to see more raw moments. And so that might look like being a business owner and doing an Instagram story and talking openly and honestly about the struggles you faced as a business. Or maybe it means showcasing your team, having your team come on Instagram or Facebook and tell a little bit about their story and how they came to work for you. There's so many ways to follow this trend. The thing is I don't think this is a trend. I think this is actually here to stay. We've noticed through the years that content is moving in this way, and people, they just want to feel connected, especially with everything going on in the world. They don't need this highly produced content. They just want you to show up online, be real, and connect with them. Now, my fifth tip is to get your team on board. As a business owner, as the owner of this brand, obviously you know your story. You know what inspired you to start this brand. You know your vision, but maybe your team doesn't. And so the first story you're going to tell about your brand will be to your staff, to your team members, to make sure they're on board and you all are on the same page. You all have the same vision going forward and what you want to say to your audience. And my last tip, but it's certainly not least, is having your audience help you tell the story of your brand. Because the audience, they're not just extras. They are actually characters in your brand story. They aren't just readers, if I can use a metaphor here. They're really the main characters. And so bringing them in to help you tell the story of your brand, I believe, is essential. It's going to add more depth to your brand. It's going to make sure who your brand is and what you're about is getting told in a multitude of ways, and not just from you, but from people who actually love your brand. So a few ways you could do this is by doing a story takeover, having people or your customers come onto your story and talk a little bit about how they use your product and why they love it. You can do some shout outs on your grid, just calling attention to the amazing people that are using your product. And those are just a few ways, but there's so many others. I would recommend actually making this a part of your strategy and plan, so you can create a custom strategy tool for testimonials, and then make sure you are planning that in your story strategy as well as your grid strategy, so you're making it an active part of what you post. Now, I hope that these tips were helpful for you, and as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, we do have a free downloadable. It will be at the link in the bio, so make sure you check it out. This is a brand storytelling guide, and it's an amazing PDF file where we ask you a bunch of questions that's really going to help you get clear on your vision for your brand and the next steps moving forward. As always, feel free to ask me any questions you may have. You can also keep this conversation going over on Instagram. You can always send me a DM. You can find me here at Plann'rs, and I will talk to you guys soon. Thanks so much. Bye.